Good evening and welcome to the show. We are so glad to have you back with us, and I have an exciting show for you tonight. I have two outstanding guests, but the first guest I'm going to talk about is somebody that every one of you should know. And if you don't, you're going to learn so much about her. We're talking about Susan Davila. She's the CEO of Desert View Hospital. And if you don't know her, you need to know more about her. And we're going to have a chance to talk to her this evening. And if you have any questions later after the show, you can always call the Desert View Hospital phone number and say, I'd like to speak to the CEO, or leave a message for the CEO. And anything that's on your mind, she's willing to listen. She's a person I've known for several years, and we're going to get into this. So, Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Well, we're going to start off by talking about, well, how long have you been here and where did you come from? Just all about your background and the fact that I know there's some people that already know that you were here before, but I'd like you to explain that as well. So go ahead, take it over.
All right. Thank you, Tom. I'm very happy to be here today. I am Susan Davila, CEO at Desert View Hospital. As stated earlier, I was actually at Desert View Hospital when the doors first opened back in 2006. I stayed for about 6 years, and then I decided I needed to journey up north a little bit. So I was up in Gardnerville for about 5 years. And then when the ownership changed at Desert View Hospital in 2016, I decided to come back. So I've actually been back into Pahrump in about 5 years now. But prior to that, as Tom said, I'll give you a little bit of my background. I was born and raised in Montana. Very, very pleased to come from a very small town. Raised in a town about 2,500. So we talk about rural America. I knew what rural America was because I was 200 miles away from either Great Falls or Billings, Montana. Those of you that might know a little bit about Montana. My parents had owned and operated actually 2 businesses in our small town of Malta, Montana. We had a motel and an airport, so have been in around businesses all of my life. And then I got lucky, and my first position in a hospital was our local hospital back in Malta as a chief financial officer, and then just kind of worked my way up. So I have been in the healthcare field for approximately 35 years now. That dates me, Tom.
Yes. Still looking very young, though. That's okay.
Very young at heart, let's say that. It's only a number. But anyway, I was in Montana for a while, and then I actually spent about 5 years in Minnesota, 5 years in North Dakota, moved back to Montana, and then was in Utah for about 2 years, and that's actually how I got connected with the Pahrump Hospital, because the original owners of the Desert View Hospital were actually from Nephi, Utah, and that's who I was working for at the time, and then came to Pahrump. So that is kind of my fast background. I have 1 son, 2 beautiful grandkids up in Elko. So just came back from visiting them, and it was a lot of fun. So I enjoy golf. I enjoy just being outdoors. And so that's just a little bit about myself, Tom.
Okay. Well, I learned some things today, and I thought I knew Susan pretty well. So that's, a very strong background. And it shows why she's the CEO today, because she does have that strong background. The other thing that I know that people are interested in is, how are things going at Desert View Hospital? What are some of the changes and things that you're looking at?
Desert View Hospital obviously has been very, I'm going to say, buried with our COVID pandemic over the last 2 years. And as you well know, I'm very transparent, and it's been tough on our staff. That has been quite a challenge. We have had a lot of challenges trying to serve our community as far as having, we call it enough real estate, enough room in our hospital. So we continue to strive to do the very, very best that we can. We, as far as our physicians that we have up at Desert View, I'm going to talk especially about our ER physicians. They're all boarded physicians and have great experience. We have finally gotten at the hospital that as far as our ER department, our doctors have been the same doctors consistently now for the last probably 3 years. So we have 3 full-time and about 3 part-time that continue to serve Desert View. Very proud of them, very strong physicians. All of them actually also work in Las Vegas, so it's not like, you know, we're just picking them up from anywhere. Great staff there. As far as our hospitalists, we have a pulmonologist, we have internal medicine, and a cardiologist that serve our hospitalist physicians. And so again, very steady, consistent physicians, which in the past we haven't had that, but for the last probably 2 to 3 years, I can say that we have, and very proud of them. Very strong staff. You know, we're seeing an uptick in our ER. Our plans as far as our ER is to expand it, probably double it. Right now, we're looking at probably within the next 2 years, we'll be doing that because, as we say, we've ran out of real estate. I know that when the COVID season was really strong, we actually had to see some of our patients out in the waiting room, which was not popular. But again, doing the best we can to serve everybody that we need to, that's what happened. And continues to happen sometimes. So again, we've changed. Actually, we took our ER original waiting room and turned that into an area that we can actually take care of our patients too. So we've had times that everything's busy. So the best we can do is see you out in the lobby, which we apologize for. But again, doing the best that we can to serve our community. With that, we have over the last 5 years that the UHS has owned and operated Desert View Hospital. We've made several improvements. We have put in a monitoring system that was over $1 million. We have a nurse call light that is going to be put in. We've put in new anesthesia machines. We've brought in new scopes for our OR. We replaced all of our beds, all of our 25 beds. It was about 2 years ago now. And so we continue to spend the capital funding that we do have to keep updating our equipment and stuff. And so that is one of the positives of working with the corporation, is that we have had the ability to do that, along with putting probably close to $2 million just in the infrastructure of our building. That I always say, well, that's not fair. We have to spend this kind of money because it gives us nothing shiny and new to see. It's just the workings of the building. So continue to do that. We have on the capital item still this year, we'll get a new CT scanner coming in. We were super fortunate to get some funding from a grant, the Hemsley grant, that I believe most of you read about. We are going to take that 500 and some thousand that we got from the Hemsley grant and upgrade our x-ray equipment. So super excited about that. It looks like there's some more grant money coming towards us from that funding. We also received a USDA grant fund at the end of 2021, and that will help us do some telemedicine with Armagosa and the Beatty area. And so we're super excited at getting that project going. So again, lots going on at your local hospital. We are very pleased and happy and proud to serve our community of Pahrump and our surrounding areas, and continue to look at, process improvement, making sure that our physicians and our practitioners are all up to date on, the certain topics and stuff. So just very pleased, and we have a very, very strong staff there at Desert View Hospital. So very proud of them, Tom.
Okay. Now I think everybody knows why I wanted her on the show. She's provided so much information, and I think it's important that for those of you who have not visited or checked into Desert View Hospital in the last 2 years, you need to give them another look, because anything that you heard or anything else prior to that time, it's all new. And I have to say, personally, I've had service there recently, and the staff is just fantastic. We talk about the doctors or the nurses or the technicians. Everybody was just truly outstanding, super friendly. And I thought it was something that if anybody complained to me about anything at Desert View, I would say, wait a minute, you're not talking about the one that I know about. So I'm going to say, give it another look, and give Susan another look, and let's look at that. Now, Susan, you did say you're a 25-bed hospital. Is that correct?
We are a 25-bed hospital. Yes, we have had, we're licensed for 25 beds. That's considered inpatient beds. So we have observation, which is an outpatient, which we can hold approximately 10 more, but we are licensed for 25, if that makes sense.
And that's where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that we're not talking about a 500-bed hospital or anything like that. There's so much more that you need to learn about Desert View Hospital. And we're going to talk to Susan more in the next session. So we want you to come back and join us as you hear more about Desert View Hospital. Welcome back. We're glad to have you back with us. And I still have our CEO of Desert View Hospital, Susan Davila, and she is truly an outstanding CEO and a good friend to our community, a good friend to all the people here, and she's always willing to tell all the good things that Desert View Hospital is doing. Again, I'm going to encourage you to contact not only her, but contact anybody at Desert View and ask them how things are going, and I think you're going to hear some very positive reports. But Susan, I want to go back because there are a couple other questions I have. The number of staff that you have, how many people do you have that actually work there?
We employ over 250 employees at Desert View Hospital.
And this is nurses, technicians, specialists, doctors, you name it.
No, the physicians themselves are not employees of Desert View. They're contracted with Desert View.
Okay.
But all of our nurses, OR nurses, ER nurses, our med-surg nurses, the infusion nurses, they're all employees of Desert View Hospital. In our radiology department, we actually contract with a group for those services, but you would never know because we just consider them all part of Desert View Hospital. And we have a lot of employees. In fact, we are going to do employee recognition for Desert View Hospital next week, and I love it because we are going to be recognizing those with 5 years, 10 years, and guess what? Now we even have 15 years that we can recognize. So kind of unbelievable. So very, very, very proud of all of our employees there. So we have, our laundry, our housekeeping, our dietary departments that sometimes we tend to forget about. And I always say, those are the ones that, especially our housekeeping crew, those are the ones that really have contact sometimes more with the patients than even our own nurses. So they're a team, we're a team. It doesn't matter who you are, we're a team around there, and it takes that team to take care of all of our patients. So, and the interesting part of it is that only about 18% of our staff come from Las Vegas. The rest are all local, which I'm very proud of. I think that says a whole lot too. So that's kind of the summary of our employees.
Okay, I was going to ask you that question. How many of your employees lived in Pahrump versus driving from Las Vegas? So I'm very glad you answered that question already.
Yeah.
And for anybody that's interested in a job, do you have any vacancies over there? Because I know there are people that are still looking for jobs.
Yep, we always have vacancies. Just go onto our website and they're always posted, or like it has been stated before, just call over and we can, get you in with the Human Resources Department and they can fill you in what jobs are open over there at Desert View Hospital.
Now, I know I didn't ask you this, but the phone number, if they wanted to call Desert View Hospital, what is the 775 number?
775-751-7500.
Repeat that one more time for those that are writing it down.
Okay, 775-751-7500. That's the main number. And you will sometimes get, again, being very transparent, sometimes you'll get a live person. Otherwise, listen carefully to your options and you will get to the right person.
Truly outstanding. In addition to all the other things that Desert View Hospital is known for, they're also known for taking care of veterans. We know we have the VA clinic right next door to Desert View Hospital, but when we talk about service to veterans, Susan, would you tell us some of the things that you do for veterans over there?
Well, I have to tell the story, and I think we remember this. So I always say, when I was here before or when I came back, well, this happens to be a story when I was here before. And I remember getting a phone call late Friday afternoon from the chief medical officer from Las Vegas. Says, Susan, we're in trouble. I need your help. What can I do for you? And that was when you didn't have the nice brand new VA clinic that we do in town. It was when you were over at the Calvada. Anyway, Dr. K, I say Dr. K because his last name is about 2 miles long. So Dr. K said to me, he said, well, we think that we have a mold problem and we have to have clinic on Monday. And I said, well, let me see what we can do. And he goes, this is what I can promise you, Susan. If you do that, then our security, our full-time 24/7 security will come over and do the security for Desert View Hospital. So we worked really hard and we set up a clinic in our training room downstairs at Desert View Hospital. It looked like a MASH station, but it worked. Yeah. And we got full-time security, and we thought we had died and gone to heaven because we did not have security on our property at that time. So I love to tell that story because it was fun having everybody and that we could do that for our veterans in town. Most of you know the DAV office is also located in our lobby at Desert View Hospital. I did not bring those stats with me, but I know I believe it was over 500 veterans that have visited that office and have gotten their benefits taken care of. And I believe it was about $2 million that they figured that they brought into our community because they had a place to be able to sign those folks up for their appropriate benefits. So very happy to have them in our building. They're all absolutely wonderful to me, and I just absolutely love having that office within our hospital.
When you mention that, and for those that are wondering who Dr. K is, that's Dr. Comanduri. And Dr. Comanduri he's still at the VA hospital. Yep. And still works closely with Desert View Hospital as well as our VA clinic. And the people that she talked about in the lobby for DAV, those are veteran service officers. And as long as you're a veteran or a family member of a veteran, they can help you. They can help look at all the benefits that veterans are entitled to. They can look at all of these things. So you just have to call and make an appointment with them. And I don't have their number handy. I know we're talking about them. I'm not sure if Susan has it, but I know if you call Desert View number, they can get that number for you. So you can call and make a reservation. But I encourage all veterans to at least check with the veteran service officers, regardless of the organization. So the VFW, they have a veteran service officer. You can check with them, the Marine Corps League, the American Legion, and the DAV. But the one at Desert View Hospital is operated by the DAV, but they handle veterans regardless of what organization you're a member of. So again, Desert View Hospital, and I was going to bring up the thing where I know when we had trouble with the VA clinic before the new VA clinic was established, we were there at Desert View Hospital, and everything worked like clockwork. They had everything set up for us. So I always want to thank Susan for that and making things happen for all veterans.
Well, it was interesting. I think you guys remember when we had the big storm not too long ago, a few months back, and the new VA clinic had some problems with their air conditioner. Yep. And again, I got a call from Dr. K, and he goes, Susan, I got to have some help here. And so we actually had it. We didn't have to use it, but we actually had it all set up. He worked with his folks he needed to. I worked with my corporate folks, and we actually had it all set up for a rent-free clinic that they were going to go over and use part of our clinic in the building right across the road from them. So we continue to work with our wonderful veterans. We love them.
And you do such a fantastic job. Again, whether it's Desert View Hospital for all the civilians in town or the veterans, it's just beneficial to be right where you are. We really encourage everyone to find out as much as you can about Desert View Hospital. There is so much going on. There are all the things that Susan talked about earlier. She talked about all the improvements that they're making and planning to make. All the people that they're planning to bring in to make sure that whatever your medical needs are is covered. Now, some people think of Desert View Hospital like a trauma center. That's not what Desert View is all about. I'm going to ask Susan to try and explain very quickly exactly the mission of Desert View Hospital.
Well, our mission obviously is to take care of everybody in our community. I think people get frustrated sometimes because they don't realize that we do not have all the specialty services that the urban hospitals have. And I'm going to give you a great example. I think of our chief of staff, our director of ER, Dr. David Watson. And like he explains it, and I think this explains it very well. When I wake up in the morning and I'm going to go to Desert View Hospital, I look myself in the mirror and say, I'm not only the emergency physician on duty today, but I'm also every specialist that I have to be for those that come in the door. Orthopedic, cardiologist, urologist, I mean, you name it, I'm the specialist, and I don't get to call a consult down the hallway and say, hey, I have a cardiologist, consult here, come see me. So I think that really sums it up, is that we have very, very highly trained ER physicians along with our hospitalists, but again, we do lack the specialty services out here in Pahrump. And that's the reason why we sometimes have to transport them into Las Vegas.
Okay, I think that explains it quite well. And I really thank Susan for being here and explaining everything to our listening and viewing audience. It's so important that you understand Desert View Hospital is your community hospital. Find out more, give Susan a call, call over, come by, visit our hospital, see what's going on, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. This is session 3, and we're so glad to have you back with us. And now I have a different guest, and she's in Alaska, but she's going to be with us via Zoom. And her name is Sable Marandi. And I'm so glad to have Sable on. We're going to be talking quite a bit about charter schools and what we hope is coming to Nye County. So I'm going to introduce her and let her tell you some things about herself, let you know where she is and what she's doing right now. So Sable, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Tom, and thank you for providing me with this opportunity to spend a little time with you and with your wonderful Nye County audience.
Fantastic. Okay, now we know we want to start a charter school in Pahrump. And we started charter school to be the first charter school in Nye County. Is that correct?
Correct. It will be the first charter school, publicly funded. No one will need to pay tuition in Nye County.
Public funded charter school. So no tuition by the students.
Yes, all charter schools are in fact no tuition. You cannot charge tuition in a charter school.
Okay, well that sounds great. I know a lot of parents are interested in hearing about that. And
Yes.
there's so much going on, but what gave you the idea of coming up with a charter school?
Well, it's the idea of responsibility. Pahrump is my home. It is our home. And currently in Pahrump, our schools, our education system can use a little help.
Yes.
We are the ones who need to roll up our sleeves, get in there, and bring the help. At the moment, Nye County proficiency levels in English language arts is 34.2% in its elementary schools, and as it goes to middle school, unfortunately, it goes down to 32.3%. That means a third of our children are achieving proficiency levels in their own language, but 2/3 are not. And when it goes to math, the numbers become more tragic. Proficiency levels in elementary are 22.8%, and in middle school, again, the numbers go down to only 20%. That means only a fifth of our children, these are our children, and only a fifth are reaching proficiency levels. This is not something that we could or should ever forgive ourselves if we simply watch, talk about it, and do nothing. Whether we are parents or not, if we are residents of Pahrump or of Nye County, we need to do something.
Now,
This is our home.
when you talk about charter school and the educational level of students, we're always talking about the fact we want the best for our students. And that's exactly what we want. If you start a charter school in Pahrump, where would you get the students from?
Well, currently, the numbers that have shown interest are actually more than we can serve, and the majority of them are families who have already pulled their children out of the school system and are homeschooling. And a number of these families actually are they have established dual residencies between Pahrump, which is their home, and another location where the mom and the kids live during school days, and then during the school season, the kids are in a charter where in a community that has charter schools. We have a lot of families in Pahrump who have become very creative in order to afford their children the education that they want. I don't want to see any of them become so creative as to leave Pahrump. These are my fellow Pahrumpians.
Yes. Okay, when we look at that and we look at the fact that we're talking about students that are homeschooled, uh, there are also students that are in church schools, and you have students that are in the public school system. So that's where all the students are obviously that's the basis of having anything new. So we have all of those students, but if everybody was already up to their educational level, there'd be no need for charter school. Is that correct?
No, correct. And if everyone was already up to the level, this would not be something that I would want to do. I might have then thought of meeting some other need in education. That is my passion, education. But it is also my passion to meet in need.
Okay.
That's why I'm here.
Okay. Well, right now you're in Alaska.
Yes.
We haven't said why you're in Alaska, but I know I wish you were here in the studio. Zoom is not the best way to have a conversation, but at least we can have this conversation because of Zoom. So we appreciate Zoom. We appreciate the management of this TV station putting it together so we can have this conversation. Because I know there are people out there that want more information. And I think, too, you're planning on having a town hall to tell more about what's
Correct.
going on. When is this
Yes.
going to be?
This will be our second town hall.
Okay.
It will be virtual, and it will be held on the anniversary of our very first town hall, which was the last Saturday of March. And this town hall will be held on the last Saturday of March. And our plan is to present to the community some of the alterations we had made in our original charter after our previous town hall and getting feedback from the community. The idea is to work very closely with the community and make sure the charter school will deliver what this community wants.
And needs.
Yes, and the need that becomes our professional duty to meet. The want, we need to know what the community further wants. For example, I have heard from, I would say, nearly everyone. The parents who have spoken with me, who have said, while we want career readiness, we want to know they're college ready also. We want to know our kids will have the capacity to go to college and stay in college if they want to. So this is something that we have had to work into our curriculum. We want all of our kids to be both college and career ready. And that has been worked into our mission and into our vision.
So you're saying this is going to be a college preparatory charter school?
College and career preparatory charter school.
Excellent. Okay. And we are looking at the 26th of March for this virtual town hall, and it's going to start at 10 a.m. Is that correct?
Correct.
It's going to start at 10 a.m. And you've already said some of the things you plan to cover, but you want people to check in, and once they're checked in and hear all the things about the charter school, then you need to know what their thoughts are, whether they support it, and how much they support. Is that correct?
And also, it's more, we've received a lot of support, but I want to hear what parents' concerns are. There were parents who in the last town hall spoke about their concerns about lack of equity in homework that their kids get. There were parents who were concerned about lack of instructional, directional feedback that accompanied the homework, and, and that they could not help their children because they didn't know what was asked of them. There have been a lot of feedback from parents on subjects that they feel they need more support from their educational community and their educational professionals, which we hope to, and we are working on incorporating into our charter and asking ourselves, holding ourselves up to meeting those needs and wants.
Okay, in the time we have left in this session, what are you doing differently to ensure that the charter is approved this time? I know last time it was not approved.
Yes. Last time, the reason the state presented for not approving it, they felt that we could not staff the school in time. We disagreed with that. However, the state has the right to say, we believe, given the teacher shortage, you will not be able to staff this school, which is part of why I'm here. This time, when we go to the state, the school will already be staffed.
Oh, that's great. And not only is it great to hear that, but I think at the same time, I know we're going to talk about this more in the next session, but in the staffing, I also like to talk about your board, your school board, your administration, and how those things are coming together. So I know you have all of that information, and those are things that we'll be covering in our next session. I think the public now is very interested in, okay, this charter school has piqued my interest, and now I want to know more. So tell me more, and the fact that you're going to have that town hall on March 26th at 10 a.m., I think is very important. So for all of you watching, and watching Sable, again, who is in Alaska, and she's going to tell us more about what's going on with the Pahrump Valley Academy Charter School. So come back and join us for the next session. Welcome back for this final session. I know you hear me say this every show. I hate for the final session to come because I really enjoy hearing from our guests. And we have Sable Marandi. She's in Alaska, and she's talking to us about Pahrump Valley Academy, the college preparatory charter school. So, but we've talked a couple times about the fact she's in Alaska. Sable, why are you in Alaska?
Well, I am an educator, and I'm a very, very passionate educator. And every time an educator is presented with the opportunity to meet different needs in learners and their families and their community, that educator has the opportunity to get a little better. I have always served in high needs communities. I have worked in the correction system. I have worked with gangs. I have worked with extreme poverty. I had never worked with indigenous people. I came here to work with an indigenous people who live in an extreme weather condition, which presents challenges in itself. And in that process, I got to know a number of educators who are veteran educators, former principals, assistant principals, mentor teachers who after retirement have come here and taken teaching positions. And if you can imagine the wealth of knowledge I am exposed to daily working with these, I am responsible for providing the school's administration and faculty and staff, as well as all the students and their families with a unique layer of support, which varies as their needs vary. I had worked as a teacher. I had worked as a coordinator in schools in large school systems. Here I have taken a different position, that of the counselor and that of the assessment coordinator. At that level, I'm able to work very closely with different educators as well as different community members and third-party service providers to education system. I've learned a lot, and I think I'm doing some good, and that makes me happy.
I'm sure the state of Alaska will hate to see you go, and we'll be happy to see you back in Pahrump. so,
Thank you. Pahrump is my home. Everyone here knows, but I do have to say, they have been more than kind to me. They have been more than generous to me. There are days when I go into my office and I find my desk overtaken by gifts. They gifts,
that
little
is,
knickknacks that they give me.
that is so beautiful.
It is. It is. I
So,
am so touched.
so now we know why you're in Alaska, and when does the school year end there so that you can come back?
Well, the school year ends in May, beginning of May. But I have been invited by a group of um, community members, indigenous people, to go into the heart of Alaska's wilderness, the Arctic wilderness, and we call it Sable's Indiana Jones trip.
Oh,
And
great.
spend a week as the Inupiat people lived long before the white man came here.
Okay. Well, let's get back to Pahrump Valley Academy now. Okay, you talked earlier about having full staff. Uh, as far as teachers, let's talk about the grades you're going to have when you first open and how you plan to do that.
Yes. We are seeking authorization for grades kinder to 8. We plan to further seek authorization for high school once our kids are ready to attend high school. But we plan to open only serving grades kinder to 5. The reason for that is that currently in Nye County, the students are at less than 1/3 proficiency in ELA, and less than a fifth are proficient in math by the time they are in 5th grade. So we have to consider the great deal of intervention we need to do to bring our kids up to par by 6th grade. By 7th grade, we want no child to be reading below grade level. We want no child to be performing below grade level in math. In order to achieve that, we will be having every child on an individualized plan in literacy and in calculation of numbers. This is something with which I am very well familiar, as I have done research in how to raise literacy levels in accelerated time. And
Okay.
as you know, I am a cognitive scientist, and part
Yes.
of my own research is acceleration of raising literacy levels.
Now let me ask you, how many classes of kindergarten are you planning to start when you first open, and what would the class size be? This is kindergarten through 5th grade.
Yes, to explain class size is a little difficult because As I said earlier, something that we call educational success plans. Every single one of our children, and some may need specialized plans because we feel it's time to accelerate beyond their grade levels, and others because they need intervention. So we work on meeting every child's needs individually, in addition to the classes where they are exposed to numbers and numbers of kids and different kids and socializing essentially. So it will not be fair to answer that question without having that child in front of me and knowing what needs need to be met for this child. But we are going to be emphasizing a few different things, a few things that we feel can help our children, which one of them includes education for parents. Education for parents, and we'll be making a great deal of investment in education of our professionals, our teachers, and our staff members. Our hope is that we will grow the next generation of leaders from within, that we will not have to bring anyone in from outside to lead us. We want our teachers to be nurtured to lead our school. Frankly, I want them to replace me. I want them to replace me. And then later, we want our students to do that. But in order to make sure our kids are getting the best, we are in our budget. I am personally seeing to it that we invest greatly in the professional development of our teachers. And we are seeking the best, not, we love our state, but we are seeking the best not only in our own home, but wherever we can find.
Oh, that's great.
Right now I have the unique privilege of having met a number of very, very passionate and very capable educators who essentially have retired and don't care very much how much they make. Now they want to get in that class and they want to prove that it can be done, that they can take kids who are far behind and have them catch up and get ahead. Those are our teachers,
Okay, what about your school board?
our school board. One of them is sitting in front of me right now, Dr. Tom Waters, um, John Prudent, J.K. Nelson, Tim Burke, and yourself. You are members of the Pahrump community with expertise in finance, in law, in business, and yourself, U.S. military and education. Then we also have Dr. Maria Jarinik from UNLV. She's a professor at the UNLV's Honors College, a very, very passionate educator herself. These are five. We are seeking to bring two more members to our board. We have had interest from more than two people. We have to make sure that every member brings another voice and represents another segment of population that must be served by PVA. So we are in that process. Now we also have our principal. She is a veteran educator. She has about a decade of experience as the head of school in one of Nevada's top schools. Amanda Ossio. I love Amanda dearly, mainly because she's so passionate about education and what she does, and about serving kids. And she has volunteered to take a pay cut in order to join us and lead our school.
Sable, I'm going to stop you there only because we're running out of time, but I want everyone to know that there is passion here. We're talking about a college preparatory and career charter school that's going to be opening in Pahrump. It'll be the first one in Nye County. And you need to find out more about this by coming to the open house, the town hall, which is going to be on March 26th. So come back and join us. And thank you, Sable.
Thank you, Tom.